All right, we are back in studio. By golly, Molly Seidel. How are you? Nice to see you.
It's great to see you in person. I feel like we're always doing this over Zoom.
Yeah, well, thanks for coming by our annual studio here in the heart of Chamonix. Some breaking news that we need to share with all your fans around the world.
Yeah, breaking news. We decided on the train up from Paris today that I'm not going to do OCC this week. So I'm pretty bummed on it, but I think it's probably the right decision to cut the season where I am. I'm feeling still a little bit run down from Western States. I think it was probably a little bit, I set my aspirations pretty high trying to make it through to this, and just kind of realizing, talking with Cliff and being like, yeah, it's probably time to pull it.
Yeah, there's a time to, sort of bet on yourself in a moment where there's question marks, and there's a time when it's probably better to give yourself some grace, which you've well earned this season.
It's so hard though, because I feel like maybe that's the thing. There's so many opportunities in the sport, and there's like just so many races that it is hard to know when to call it.
Yeah.
And I think I definitely got sucked up into the energy of being like, well, everybody else who raced Western States is doing one of the UTMB races. Why not me?
Yeah.
And then also forgetting that like I literally started trail racing 6 months ago, and I might not have quite the miles in my legs that these other ladies have. So it's hard having the self-control to know when to cut it.
Yeah. It's funny because we've been talking about this type of stuff the last couple of days. Jim Walmsley was in here yesterday sharing the same news.
Yeah.
Of course, he pulled out of UTMB. One of the things we talked about is like that a younger version of himself probably would have tried to press through and just bet on himself.
Yeah.
And it probably wouldn't have worked out well. And Riley Brady was just in here, who of course ran Western States. And they are taking a different approach. Instead of, trying to take a big swing after a huge second place at Western States, more as like a learning opportunity. And I feel like it's another example of maturation. You, of course, have so much experience being a professional athlete, knowing when the right time to go to the well is and when the right time to recover is.
Yeah, because I think it's always that question of like, can I do it versus should I do it?
Yeah.
And I've had those experiences in my career when I think I focused too much on the can I and physically pushed through a lot to get to the race, and then didn't realize just the toll that it takes on you afterwards. And I think so much of this year for me was the experiential aspect, the learning aspect. And so in my brain, I was like, well, I have to get as much experience as possible. But then also realizing part of the experience is knowing how to respect your body, how to focus on the setup for the following year.
And it doesn't mean that you can't get experience while you're here.
Oh,
are you well enough to go hike around on the trails and stuff?
Well, that's the thing. I'm so I was out here last week actually, like previewing parts of the course. I haven't gotten a ton of experience around like just running in the Chamonix Valley. And then this week, like we have all of our group runs for Satisfy. I get to do miles on my own. I'd love to get to just like explore up down valley a bit. Yeah. So if anything, so much of like prepping for a race is almost like kind of staying like locked in your little container for the week. And it is kind of fun now thinking of like, I get to really like be out there experiencing all of UTMB week and experiencing the trails in a way that I couldn't if I had I guess it's a 50K, but a 60K,
it's a 60K,
right?
yeah.
It's a 60K. If I had a 60K on Thursday.
Everybody's always called it a 50K. It used to be a 55K.
Got it.
And now it's a 60K. So it's a little bit confusing.
Is this just a normal thing in trail that we're just like playing loosey-goosey on the distances?
At UTMB, it's pretty normal, right?
Okay.
UTMB is 108 miles. CCC is actually a clean 100K. But the other thing that's frustrating is that the races change a lot. So, for example, the CCC course has changed like significantly since it started in 2014. The UTMB course evolves slightly year to year, and there's always weather adjustments and things like that. CCC is the one that like reliably you can compare things across years. But everything else is like a little different.
Even just for trying to prep for OCC, because I was asking a lot of people of like their opinions on the course and like trying to run parts of it. And then like 3 days ago, we get an email that they changed the final part of the course anyway. And like, I was trying to watch the videos from last year, but it was a different climb up Col de Balme. It is impossible to try and compare any of these things.
Yeah, it's funny because I'm in the media, like all I want to do is like compare and like synthesize things across seasons.
Yeah.
And at
Who's the
UTMB it
real
makes it so
goat?
hard. But like at Western States, of course, they've been running the same course for decades. But that's going to change next year because there's the high country reroute.
Wait, what? This is the first I am learning of that.
Molly, more breaking news.
This is so great.
Yeah. We don't need to get into that here, but
Yeah.
you know, for those of us who, you know, kind of like are fans of the history and stuff, there is even if I can understand how things need to change sometimes, there's a frustration that I can't now cleanly compare things, you know, from decades ago to today, but we don't need to get bogged down. So you have spent a little time in the valley. You got out on the trails a little bit. To what degree were you on the course, and anything like first impressions of being here? And
Yeah, I did. So I got in, what was it? Not this past Thursday, but the Thursday before. And I got to do the course portion I took the train and then the bus up to Triant, and I ran Triant to Argentière. And it was so cool seeing that section because I think it really is going to be the defining part of the course.
Yes.
It's really technical coming across there. It's just rocks that they threw kind of in a line that you climb over. But it's a really fun climb up to Col de Balme and then up over, is it Tête de Balme?
Tête de Balme,
Tête de Balme. Like
that's the new part. Yeah.
It's stunning up there and then coming around down the sides. So I feel really lucky that I got to see it because even though I'm not racing, I think it is such a, like, I don't know, a rarefied experience to get to run in this area. It feels like really the home of trail running.
Yeah.
And I feel really lucky that I get to be on the course. And I think then I did Col de Poisette, so right in that same area, up from La Tour. And then I popped back down to Paris. I was doing some stuff with Satisfy over the last few days, met up with all the teammates down there, and then we popped back up today.
So you're making the most of your time here?
I'm trying to really get the most out of France.
One thing I was going to ask you, and I think I asked you some version of this at Western States too. The thing I'm curious about is to get your take on UTMB week. And we're not quite into UTMB where like the expo is open and all the athletes around and there's thousands of runners everywhere. But just like, this is the Super Bowl. It is the analog. I mean, in Western States is the only other race that compares in terms of stature. But like, if you look at your experience at the Olympics or Boston Marathon or World Majors, like, what's similar and what's different, you know, here and in Western States versus those?
Well, it's so fun because I think UTMB week is the closest in trail running that there is to the atmosphere at a major. It feels a lot actually like how New York feels, where every brand is there. Every brand is doing the runs and the pop-ups, and there's so much energy. And I think it is that community aspect of realizing like, everybody's there. You're seeing all your friends. You're getting to be in the mix of things that I think is really special. And so I know a lot of people talk about this week being really overwhelming, wanting to avoid downtown Cham. I actually find it really fun. And this is now my third time coming out for UTMB week. I had been out in, I believe, 22 and 23.
Okay, so you're a veteran.
I know my way about it. I know my way around.
I didn't realize
but
that.
I think that's really the fun part of it is seeing it grow from year to year. And obviously the week is just starting out. But as the sport grows and it develops, it is really exciting just to see how much the community just comes in for this race. There's really nothing like it.
Is there any analog in road racing where a lot of the pro athletes like come for weeks or months at a time to like train on a course?
No, not really, because in road racing, I mean, you can't shut down the streets. You can't do training runs down First Ave for the New York City Marathon. And that it was really fun, even for the short mini training camp that I did out here of getting to like run into Rachel Entrekin and like see how her training was going, and just like being able to like try to meet up with people and get that energy. You almost like feed off of each other. So like if I like, eventually I want to do the longer races here, and it would be really fun to come out for like a month, because that seems like half the experience is getting in some time in France just to learn the trails out here.
Yeah. The other thing that I think is interesting is for a lot of American athletes coming over and racing in Europe for the first time or for the first couple of times, there's a real learning curve to feeling comfortable on the terrain and against different competitors. Is that also something that's maybe similar to your experience? In other words, like, and like, I guess like thinking about Tokyo, the Olympics, is there a learning curve to like going somewhere else and racing on a different in a different country on a different course in the way that there is in trail running, if you understand what I mean?
I think it's much more magnified in trail. I think to some degree that exists in road running, and especially with the competitors, you have to learn how to race at a high level. And I think that is probably the most similar aspect in trail, that going out and racing your Bubba's backyard 50K is very different from racing something like OCC or CCC or UTMB, because the way that professional athletes race and the way that the top athletes in the world race at the world finals is very, very different. It's aggressive. You have to learn the moves that people are making. And so I think that experience, it's part of the reason why I wanted to do OCC, because there isn't an equivalent that you can find anywhere else. You only learn that from kind of getting your ass kicked by the best people in the world over and over and over until you learn what that kind of racing is like. Yeah. And I just don't have that yet because I haven't been racing in the trail world. I know the moves in road running. I don't know it in trail yet.
You know, it's funny. One of the things I was thinking about is I'm pretty sure you would have been the first Olympic medalist to race at UTMB. And
yeah, probably.
You know the other cool thing that's happening? Jan Frodeno's running OCC.
Wait, really?
Yeah, who's an Olympic gold medalist in the triathlon in
I know.
2008. He's coming in tomorrow.
I'm supposed to podcast with him on Friday, I believe. Wow, yes. So I didn't realize that he was
we
racing.
We should have had you guys in together.
Yeah, wait, that's so fun.
It would have been a fun storyline, but he'll have to do the work for the two of you.
Yeah, I almost feel like having the experience from like his level of racing the triathlon might lend itself better to this kind of race, because like triathlons, especially at that level, are so painful. Yeah. Like I think he's probably going to be able to absolutely grind on that course.
Yeah, I was making the comment that triathlon is so gear centric. Like I wonder how he is with the gear component. And I was going to ask you
he's
the same
probably
thing.
An absolute freak in a good way.
Was that something that you were putting work into? Because here at OCC, there's more mandatory equipment. Yeah. You may or may not have been practicing and using poles. Like that's something that's new probably for you.
The poles that's going to be a multi-year thing for me. I am an absolute liability to everyone around me when I'm using poles. Yeah. So I was not planning on using them for this race, but the gear aspect is really important, and just what you have to carry. We were just talking about this down in the Satisfy office because one of my teammates, Stan, had mentioned they might institute a cold weather kit. And I said, what is a cold weather kit? And I didn't realize that you then have to carry extra clothing like for the conditions. And so we were trying to, the vest that Satisfy has designed for me is very, very light. And we were trying to figure out how to be able to fit in multiple layers, multiple jackets. I think it was like 2 headlamps or something.
It's always 2 headlamps.
That's insane. We don't race at night in OCC. But it is that there are aspects of like, okay, how do you carry this on your body? Yeah. Like, how am I going to be able to get it out if I need to? Mm-hmm. Like, it's just a different learning curve.
That's what I mean. And something we just talked about with Riley Brady too. Just like Western States and UTMB, obviously world championship level events, and they're just so different. Yeah. Like with the exception of the distance, and again, UTMB is actually 108 miles. Western States is a clean 100. Yeah. Everything is so different. I mean, UTMB starts at night. People are using poles. You've got the mandatory equipment. You know, there's fewer aids, like crew access aid stations. So it just requires a huge learning curve. And I hope over the course of time, you give yourself the opportunity to develop that learning curve, because we're all looking forward to seeing you make a debut here. I would love to talk about Western States, if that's okay.
Yeah, let's go for it.
You absolute dog. Like, that was so cool, first of all. Like,
thank you.
I would just love to hear, like, from your perspective, when did it start getting hard? And in general, how are you feeling about it after a couple months?
Yeah, Western States was a really, really interesting race. It was really, really difficult. That's probably one of the hardest things I've ever done. I don't think I've ever been like mentally pushed in a way like that. I feel like started out and I had really high expectations going in. Like it had been a great build. I was feeling super strong. And like my expectations were absolutely go for top 10. And I think I was really aspiring to try and get top 5 just based off of how I had been training and basically going out, coming over the top of the escarpment in second and feeling really confident. And then things just kind of started to go south maybe around like mile 30. I don't know if I just wasn't getting in enough nutrition or I chose the wrong shoes for the day. I kind of blew out my posterior chain a bit, but around mile 55, my legs just completely gave out. We were coming up. I don't think I was okay
Michigan Bluff? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Michigan Bluff?
I think that's what it was, Michigan Bluff. And I came into Michigan Bluff and I was in a lot of pain. I was really, really suffering and I was feeling really, really bad. And I took a bit of time there. I started really losing ground, had a bunch of women come past me there because I think I was still sitting in maybe right around 10th at that point. But I was starting to get really, really scared because I was like, we're only about halfway into this race and I don't know if I can keep going. And we kind of changed my clothes. We got some more nutrition in me and they sent me off from Michigan Bluff. And within 400 meters of leaving Michigan Bluff, I was just reduced to walking. Like my legs physically could not run anymore. And I was just convinced, I was like, okay, that's it. That's the end of my day. I'm going to have to drop out at Forest Hill, but I know I'm sure as hell not walking back to Michigan Bluff. Yeah. Cliff will not let me drop out there. And so I had no choice, but I just spent probably maybe like 2.5 hours then walking to Forest Hill and like going through. It was insane because I couldn't walk downhill even because it's a really steep downhill and then back up. So I had to walk backwards down the hill. And I remember like Addie Bracey came past me and she was like, girl, you good? I'm like, I'm not good right now. But even that, I feel like, is some of the spirit of trail racing, that every person that passed me, like, checked in, like, hey, are you okay?
That's so cool.
How are you doing? Even, like, people were telling me, like, hey, like, it means a lot that you're still out here. And, like, and it was hard. Like, it was so funny because I cried. In that section, I cried a lot between Michigan Bluff and Forest Hill. And I was coming up, and it had been such a long time already. And, like, basically Kelly like drove down the hill and came and found me and gave me a hug. And I just started like sobbing. Yeah. I was like, my race is over. Like, this sucks. I've poured my heart and my soul into this and I had really high expectations and I'm watching it just fall apart in my hands. Yeah. And it was hard, but got to Forest Hill and like my crew got me through it. We changed shoes. Like, I ate a bit and we waited, and Cliff never said you have to keep going, but like they kind of set me up for success of being able to be like, hey, there's more that we can do. We believe you can do this. And goddamn, Alyssa Clark, she is incredible. She was not crewing me that day. She was crewing somebody else. My pacer had to drop out with a hamstring injury. So she's like, I'm going to run with you. And she ran with me basically all the way to Pointed Rocks. She was out there with me for 10 hours.
I didn't even realize that.
No, it was crazy. Like, I was like so bad at Forest Hill and they were like, you just have to run with Alyssa. It's going to be okay. And she is so like, she is truly one of the most positive people I have ever met. And we just yapped the whole time. She kept me talking. She was making sure that I ate. But like, that's where I truly saw like what a truly incredible pacer can do for you, because like she got me through that race.
Wow.
Yeah.
Shout out to Alyssa Clark. She just got the FKT on Mount Whitney, and I think she's doing TDS.
She is racing TDS, and I'm very excited to cheer for her.
You should go over to Bourg St. Maurice on
that's the thing. We're going to go out like
Tuesday morning. Yeah.
It's, I don't know. I feel like she is such an unsung hero in the sport. Like, she is such an incredible competitor. She is such a G. And like, just the fact that she is willing to drop everything and run, I think she ran 32 miles with me. Yeah. It was nuts. Yeah.
My pacer at Hard Rock had the opposite. He picked me up in Ouray. We made it like 2 miles later, and then I dropped out of the race.
Oh, no. Well, it was great.
But shout out to Topher Gaylord, too.
Hell yeah, Topher. But no, Alyssa was telling, I was like, because at that point I was like, please tell me, tell me your worst race stories. I just wanted to hear it. She was like, trust me, like, there was a race that I wanted to quit so bad that I just laid down in the road and hoped a car would run me over. And I was
I hope you're really proud of it, though. Like, honestly, it does set a good example, and it fills my heart to hear that trail culture, people were checking on you and appreciating you.
That's it. Even like those last 38 miles, like from Forest Hill onward, were 38 of the hardest miles of my life. And like, by the time we got to Pointed Rocks, my whole body was shutting down. But the way that like everybody on the trail was still cheering me out, like at 3 a.m. coming past and like finding ways to support me, I feel like I really fell in love with the sport.
I mean, there is a time and a place to gut it out like that, you know, and like you don't need to do that every time. But like, I feel like there's good karma from working through those issues and finding the finish line on a day that's not optimal. What'd you learn from it? Like, I'm sure you have ambitions to maybe get back to Western States or do something similar. What'd you take from it?
I think I didn't truly understand that ability to be at your absolute physical low and like truly convinced that there is no more to give and somehow there's still something else. Like that was, I think, the most shocking thing that came away from it. Like the number of times that I like just like my legs were giving out, like I didn't think I could go further, and then like somehow there's still another 5 miles in there. That was pretty wild. And it's something that is just so different from the roads. Like you never experience that to the same level. I've also never run through the night, so it was cool to learn that I can do that. It gave me a little bit more hope for UTMB someday, because that actually really scared me a lot. But yeah, I don't know. Even just realizing like the power of having a great team behind you, that I think really meant a lot to me, that everybody was still out there with the same energy at 4 a.m. at Pointed Rocks. Like that was cool.
That's rad. Can you tell me about the buzz cut, the G.I. Jane look?
The buzz cut.
Because we were on the live broadcast. We were like, that's so badass.
Yeah. I had wanted to cut my hair for a while. Like I had been joking about it for a while, and then between all the runs in the Grand Canyon, it just being hot, I was like, God damn it, I'm just going to shave the head. And so we had gotten dinner with my parents and my aunt and my cousin, and we literally went back to the Airbnb, just buzzed the whole thing. My mom lost her shit the next day. But it's so fun. Like it feels so good. So I've continued to keep it short now. Yeah. And when we just went down to Paris, Satisfy wanted to bleach it for my shoot that we did. And now I'm like, I kind of love it.
I can't wait to see the campaign.
I know.
Hopefully it's for the Ego Death collection.
My new Ego Death collection. I don't know. I think the photos will come out pretty cool. Like they really go all out with that kind of stuff. And it's fun when the whole team gets together. Yeah. Like even just getting to know my teammates on Satisfy better has been really, really fun. So getting everybody together in the studio is always a good time.
That's so cool. Anything else from Western States that is like top of mind for you as you reflect on the day or as you think about how it might impact your path forward in the sport?
Yeah, it's interesting. I think afterwards, I had to really come to terms with like, there was almost like a mourning period for the race afterwards. I think like it's easy to get caught up after a race of like the joy of like, hell yeah, I finished, cool. Afterwards, I think I had to really actually be honest with myself. I'm like, man, like I'm really, really sad. I'm really sad because like I truly believed that I think I could go out and do something special. And it's really hard to fail very, very publicly and then like sit with that failure for another, 14 hours and just really be in it. But I think it is that experience of realizing how much it meant to me that's how I know that I'm on the right path here. Yeah. And because you have to be able to realize like, yeah, sometimes you take a big swing and you just absolutely fail miserably, but it doesn't mean that you should be scared to try again. Like maybe it's that, like, I think I could have come away from that race being like, I never want to do that again. But if anything, I'm like, man, like I feel like I only love this race more. And I'm really excited to take what I learned going forward. Like, I feel like I made literally every mistake I could on the day, and like, we'll take it forward. We'll learn from it. And like, I cried my tears, and hopefully we'll be back next year. I just got to get another golden ticket now.
And that's sport, you know?
Yeah.
Sometimes it just doesn't work out.
Sometimes it doesn't work out.
We learn that early in our
special.
lives, and unfortunately we are reminded of it all too often in our careers.
If any, maybe that's it. It's like if you're in the sport long, like you're going to fail a lot more than you're going to succeed, but it's like you learn a lot from the failures.
Yeah. And that race is just so special, and it really does kind of infect you in a way that's hard to describe, like to where you just can't help but like want to be there. This race is similar in a lot of ways. I mean, this is probably my 12th time coming here. I've only raced like 3 or 4 times. So just want to be around it. In Western States is the same way.
Yeah, but it's that I think it really is the energy. It's the people around. It's everything that goes with it that I think makes these really big races special. And you only get so many chances in your career to go after it. So it's really trying to find ways to make the most of it while you get the opportunity.
You know, it's just popping into my head now. I don't know why. I'm just realizing this, but in 2013, I came here for the first time to do UTMB. First day I was here, went for a run up the Brabant and just totally ruined my ankle in its disgusting way, and ended up, I was here 3 weeks early alone. And this is the first day. So of course I spent the next 3 weeks sitting in the bar alone, feeling sorry for myself. Obviously pulled out of the race, didn't start. But what I did was I followed the whole race, like through the night around the mountain, watching the front of the race. And what it showed me is like, dude, you were not prepared for this.
Yeah.
But it also instilled in me like that desire to learn and come back when I was ready, which leads me to obviously want to ask you, like, this gives you a similar opportunity. You know, you can now spend the next week, I know you've been here before, but like you can really intentionally observe what the leaders are doing at OCC or CCC or UTMB and like download as much of that info and insight as you possibly can to come back in the future. What might you do over the next week or so to try and, inform yourself?
I think for me, like, I actually really do just love watching racing. Like, I'm a huge fan of the sport. It's why I came out 2 years previously just to watch it when I wasn't racing. And I think for me, being able to see how people are racing, how they move on this terrain is really important to me, especially on the really technical terrain where I just have a lot of skill that I need to build. That's what I'm most fascinated by. So I think like even the opportunity to go out and watch races like ETC with like over on the other side, like I think being able to see just how people attack that terrain is really interesting because it informs me of like the skills that I need to work on. And I think, like you said, of learning how to respect the course, because it could be very easy to come out here with a lot of ego and be like, hell yeah, I'm going to absolutely crush this. Yeah. And then these trails just have a way of destroying you in a way that it's hard to get that level of destruction in the US because everything is magnified out here. And so I think for me, part of me not racing this year is a bit out of respect for the course, of knowing like the preparation that I had going into this is not like, I know I'm not ready to send it on that course in the way that I want to be able to race and the way that I want to race against.
That's exactly how I felt in 2013.
Yeah. That's the thing. It's like when you line up against the best in the world, you're not just here I'm not here to course preview. Yeah. I'm here to race it. And when I line up here, I want to feel like I'm really ready and dynamic and ready to race these women. So yeah, it's going to be another year of learning, and maybe next year, maybe the year after, but like, I know I'm going to race here.
Yeah. Well, watching the live broadcasts gets you at least 50% of the way to like really seeing it. But I would encourage you to get out on the course and watch some of it. Like go to Col de Balme for OCC. You can even take a chairlift most of the way up there. Yeah. Ryan's favorite place to photograph. We've already established that.
Yeah. I know. I love going, what is it? Col de Forclaz, where they come over. Like, I love that spot when they bomb down into Triant. Yeah. That is like so gnarly. Yeah. Or like being able to see the descent into Latour will be really cool, I think.
Go to Courmayeur in the middle of the night and watch the carnage.
But it's hard now because in the past when we came out, we just rented a car and drove around. And now you have to take buses. Is that right? Can you drive around?
I mean, we've got a media credential if you want to ride.
Wait, can I be your correspondent? I swear to God, I will do that. I'm in.
We'll discuss it offline.
You're like, no girls.
Yeah. Well, Molly, you're so awesome. I love every opportunity we have a chance to catch up, and I totally understand, the decision that you're making. And I hope you guys, you and the other Molly who's here in studio with us, have a fantastic week.
Thanks so much.
Enjoy UTMB and being part of this atmosphere and get all the information and learning you possibly can to come back when it makes sense.
Sweet. Thanks so much, Dylan.
Thank you.